Quick introduction, my name is Michael Morris. Recently came down from the Chicagoland area. I was a K-12 special education teacher prior to moving into a training role here for UAB. So I'm pretty excited to be here, and hopefully this is not too big of an issue. So to first start off, when you are going to publish your grades, it is extremely important to go into your course, scroll down to settings, make sure you are under course details, and about mid-page you have to make sure enable grade scheme is checked. If the grade scheme is not checked, the BlazerNet banner, whatever we call it, will not pull the grades. So you have to make sure the grading scheme is checked. You could also click right below that, the View Grade Scheme. This is, you can edit this, you can change it. So the grading scheme that I have is actually the one I modified, so it's just the A, B, C, D, F scale. If you want to change it, you can select another grading scheme. Your department may have another grading scheme. If your department has a grading scheme, it will be listed on the side. And then you can just click onto it, and it will show you the other grading scheme. You can make modifications to the grading scheme. Close this out, where it says Manage the Grading Schemes. If you click on that, you are brought to this window where it shows you kind of all the grading schemes you have. If you have one, you're just going to see one. If you have two, and so on. So if you click on the pencil near whatever grading scheme you wanted to edit, I'll go to this one, and you can edit it, because UAB does not accept, from my understanding, the pluses and minuses. So if your default grading scheme is the pluses and minuses, you could just go through and take them out. Just click on the X, it'll remove them. I'll get rid of the D minus. And then I'm going to take away the C plus, and then you could just adjust the percents to whatever you want. Last place I was at, there was a question about rounding. This is not going to automatically round up. So if you wanted to round up, you can set that in here where you can adjust in here what you actually want A or a B to actually be. So you can adjust that and say, well, I want an 89 to also be an A roundup. And you can do that from that screen. And when you do that, make sure you hit click Save on the bottom. If you do not click Save, it will not save. And then it just modified your grading scheme. And you go back to Settings. Go down again in Course Details. After you check Enable Grading Scheme, you have to make sure at the very bottom of the screen you update Course Details. If you do not update Course Detail again, you're going to check it. You're going to go on with the course throughout the semester. End of the semester, you're going to go to BannerNet or BlazerNet. You're going to publish, and you're going to get an error because even though you checked it, you forgot to hit update and never updated it. And you thought you did it. So that's really all you have to do on the Canvas side of things for the publishing the grades. Everything else is done in BlazerNet. I really quickly want to go into the grades and kind of show you some of the issues that were popping up at the end of the semester. So at the end of the semester, students were seeing their scores as a total. At the very end, again, students don't see all grades. They have a different view. But they would see that total column, and they would see their grades for their classes, and they would go, oh, man, I'm getting an A. And if you did your grading and you excused assignments using that little dash, they would not get the A. If you use the dash, our BlazerNet's actually going to pull from a different column. I'll show you that in a second, how to get to this screen. It'll actually recalculate the grades as zeros. And the dash will be a 0, and the student's grades will be different. So if you're going to excuse an assignment, make sure you click on that assignment and just type in EX for an excused assignment. And now that assignment will not calculate the 0. I don't know why they do it. It's kind of confusing because you see in there, you see a dash. We see, instructors, students see their grade as it is. But then when you click on export, so if you go to the top right where it says export, you can click on that, and you could either, if you've exported your gradebook in the past, it'll keep a record of that export. So you could re-download previous exports, or you could click on current, and that'll give you a current export of your gradebook into Excel format, and then you could actually modify it. So, yeah.
Even if your gradebook is set up with the weightings, if there's anything in there that's got a dash,
it'll
randomly gives it a 0, even if there's no weighting.
Yep, it will. It'll count that as a 0. So this is.
Sounds like it'd just be easier just to go in and manually enter the grade and have to go in and put XXX on it.
Well, I guess it depends on how often you're excusing the grade.
Yeah.
You know, if you're excusing a lot of them, you know, it could be a hassle.
I don't know that they're excused as much as just, because I did this and my A's were C's, my B's were D's,
yeah.
my C's were F's.
If you are given assignments where you only want certain students to do the assignment, you could always assign groups. And then you can maybe divide your class into group A, B, and C. And you could give group A an assignment, group B an assignment, group C an assignment.
Yeah, these were assignments that had no grade weight.
Well, if it's a 0 grade weight, it's not going to calculate an anything to 0. If it's already weighted at nothing, it'll be nothing. But if it's a 10-point assignment, or if you have a grade weight, if your category is weighted, say 25%, and that assignment still has a point value, that point value in that weighted category will end up being a 0. So it will kind of change things.
Okay, see, I had this set like that. It didn't work.
You know?
Then I had to go in and manually.
Well, if you, when we're done here, I'm always available to help, so I can come in and meet one-on-ones as well. So yeah.
Can I just ask you to clarify something? So if you have an assignment and you have one student and for some reason you decide to excuse that assignment for that student, it could be next in.
Yeah.
And then so is the total points for them that much less?
Yeah, it'll disregard that assignment totally. So it'll, when it figures out the grade for that student, if it says 25%, 25-point assignment, and you excused it, their total will be 25 points less. Sure. So when you download that, now I'll move it out of the way. So when you hit this export button and you click on current, you are, let me move this back up there. And I did modify it, and I colored the column so you can kind of see a little bit better what Canvas sees versus what LaserNet sees. So in yellow is what Canvas is actually showing. This is what you see, this is what the students see, and people think this is really a good thing. Zoom up. So again, you see excused assignments over here, and they're sitting with 4,600 points. There's a lot of assignments that I've been playing with, and they're showing an A. This other student had dashes. All the assignments were dashes. So if you look over here, these dashes here in Canvas, they had all the points that you graded, even though you didn't assign a point value, and they still show the A. But then what LaserNet or Banner is actually going to see is they're going to see the green column. They're seeing the final grade. And here's the column that the final grade is based on. So it takes anything that's not excused, and it'll actually put a 0 in for it, and it'll calculate it up. So if it's going to be an assignment that's only going to be for certain students, I would definitely use the feature, and I can help you set this up, but there's a feature where you could assign an assignment to a specific student or to a specific group of students. Because again, if you give an assignment, you have, I don't know if you have 100, 200 students, it's a lot of EXs to type in there. So if you can manage your grade book by assigning them individually, by assigning them groups, that would cut down the amount you have to type in. Yeah?
So if I want to know that this was set up correctly
because you have to, they're using,
I'm seeing all F's, or if I'm, you know, if my grading scheme is all I see is E's and E's,
Yeah.
or whatever. Then I know it's not set up, that's the column that matters.
yeah, that last column. And again, it's not always going to be column Q. Depending on how many assignments you have, it's going to boost it over and over. But look for that last column, final grade, that's what LaserNet's going to take. The final score, or current grade, is what Canvas shows. I don't know why they have it the way they do, but be very careful with this. You can download it at any time. A lot of instructors are also using the download feature to add scores. If you download the Excel file, you can actually add a column to it, enter grades manually, you can even upload it, and it'll change it. So, but that's for another session. Let me go back. Because where you have the import button, so if you download it and make modifications to it, and then hit the import button and find that file you can import, it'll make the changes in Canvas. So that's an option as well. Okay, so BlazerNet. Everyone's familiar with this page, right? So this is not a full working BlazerNet profile. I'm not a faculty, so I don't have access to a live working page. This is not linked to a class. So when I show you guys where to click, you're going to see what happens if there's a problem. And then I'll explain what happens if there's not a problem. So when you open up your faculty profile, you're going to have a list of your courses down at the bottom. So if you go, and I'll zoom up so you guys can see this even better. So you're going to see these icons. So this little icon that looks like a chalice, it's supposed to be the Canvas icon with a little arrow going down to a line. That is the pull the grades from Canvas. So BlazerNet will actually go to the Canvas servers, they'll grab that column, and they'll pull them into its servers. So when you click this, it's going to ask you if you're ready to submit your grades. If you are ready, you can modify these at any time as well. So you can click OK. It takes anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds generally for this process to complete. When it's done, a pop-up's going to appear, and you can see it's still swirling up here. And a pop-up will appear telling you how many grades were submitted correctly. So this is actually also going to look for differences. So this is programmed to look for differences between what Canvas shows and what BlazerNet is pulling, and it'll let you know up here how many grades were returned. Again, I don't have a Canvas course linked to this profile, so 0 of the 17 grades are actually recorded into BlazerNet. Yeah.
So should we have that in the current summer term 2016? We should have that little goblet thing.
I believe it opens up in the last. There's a time frame of when grades open up.
Okay.
So, but I'm
So
not
we
sure.
have to go in there, and we can't do it like now while sitting.
I don't believe so. And then it'll tell you as well how many of the grades were submitted correctly, and then it'll give you a little bit of information on getting help from the people here with BlazerNet. So you could always contact Daniel Jones and Samir again for more assistance on this. But if everything submits correctly, and again, as long as the grading scheme set up correctly, when you hit that icon, that chalice icon, you're going to have however many students you have. It'll say, for me, 17 out of 17, or 50 out of 50, whatever it is. If it happens to say 49 out of 50 and there was a number difference, what that means is there was a problem somewhere in there. So it was probably, again, maybe the dash was used, but it found that one of the grades submitted was different from the one that's in Canvas. And if that happens, let one of us know so we can troubleshoot and help you figure out where that problem is. So once you click OK on that, you're taken back. And you can always click on this A, and you're going to get a big long list when it loads. Go back, try it again. You click on the A, you're going to get a list of these students where you could actually manually enter the grades as well. So if you notice a problem as well, and you go into Canvas and so-and-so's got an A, but BlazorNet pulled an F, you can manually change it in here. By clicking the F, you can manually change it. It's highly encouraged that after you submit, I know it's a pain, they encourage you to go into this site here to see what BlazorNet actually pulled and then compare it to your grade book.
So if it does identify a problem, it won't tell you where the problem is.
It's not going to tell you where the problem is.
Somewhere in 100, 200 students.
Yeah. And it's not hard to find them, because if there's a problem, let me go back to that. Let me go back to BlazorNet. Because if there's a problem, it's not going to submit the grade. So when you go to this, oops, I didn't want to do that. When you go here, if there was a problem, say it was at the very end, it would be right there. There's your problem.
So the problems will show up.
And yeah, it just won't submit the grade. So this way you're not going over there, you got a big list of completed stuff and you have to totally compare. It won't submit it. And then once you're done with that, you can log out of BlazorNet, and that's really about it. There's really not much to it if everything goes smoothly.